Good evening, guys. All right, you can come and sit on your mat. Of course, you can, as always, grab a pillow and sit on a pillow, or grab some blankets and sit on those if you want to. Whatever feels comfortable. Again, as always, you can sit with your legs crossed. You can sit with your legs open wide. You can sit straight out. Literally any way, as long as your spine is nice and neutral and you aren't like swaying to one side. So again, as long as your spine nice and upright and you feel comfortable, that's all that matters. You're gonna put your hands on your legs, so whether they are bent or if they are straight, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and put your hands right there. As you inhale, I want you to lift up, and you can use your hands and press against your legs if you want to help lengthen that spine, and then you're gonna sink back down as you exhale. So practice a 2-second inhale, 4-second exhale. So inhaling up, exhaling down. Imagine you're like a bag of rocks and you're sinking onto the mat, and then you're lifting back up, sinking down and up. So inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Back and forth. Try to, as you exhale, kind of let everything from the day go. Feel like you're releasing that tension from the day, the weekend, the past week, whatever it may be. Two-second inhale, 4 seconds out. Let's do 2 more. Inhale up, lengthening that spine. Exhaling down. 1 more up. Exhale down. Go ahead and take your right hand and put it next to you. Same position that you started with. So if you are with your legs out in front, or if you're kneeling, you don't have to move. You're going to just keep the same position. So right hand is going to go on the right side of my body. I'm going to walk my fingers away. So I'm going to start to stretch out this area, and then I'm going to extend my left arm, and I'm extending it straight up. So first thing I'm doing, instead of just bending it over, is I'm lifting and lengthening. So you can see how, you can even see how my shirt moved just now, but I'm lifting and lengthening up and away. I can take it a little bit deeper, and I can go onto my forearm if I choose. That will make it just a bit of a more intense stretch. Now I don't want you to roll your shoulders forward. They need to stay nice and upright. Inhale, exhale. Breathe nice and easy. Go ahead and come up. Use your obliques to just lift up. We're going to go to the other side. First thing we're going to do is just walk that hand away. We're bringing this right arm up and over our head, stretching, lengthening that lat, your serratus and your obliques. Reaching, then dropping down to that forearm if you choose. Breathe and hold. Nice and steady. Holding here, and then now we're going to come up using those obliques again, and this time we're going to be doing kind of a traveling pose. Now, if your legs are out in a straddle pose, your legs might get in the way, so you might want to just fold them up for this next one, because we're going to start on our right side, and we're going to walk our hands all the way around. So I'm going to come into the middle, and I'm kind of reaching as far as I can, really using my fingertips to walk away from my body, and then I'm going to swivel over to the left side. Breathe. Holding here, a nice twist in that spine. Walking back over. Now when we get to the right side, we're going to go back a little bit further than where we started, because we want to deepen that twist and that stretch just a little bit. So I'm going to take, this is where I started. So I'm going to go ahead and take my right hand and go back behind me, rotating through my torso, twisting, generating all that energy around, twisting as much as I can. I'm going to hold it here. Inhale, Exhale, try to relax those muscles. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, drop. Breathe back and forth. All right, go ahead and walk those hands back out to the front. All the way around. This time again, going a little bit further than we did on that left side. So bring over that left side. Twist, twist, twist. I'm very tight on this side, so my body's like, I don't want to twist. So I'm going to twist as much as possible, but I'm not going to act like this side is the same as my right side. So I'm going to be a little bit more gentle with it. We're going to do this one more time, and by the time I come back to this side, I might feel a little bit looser, and maybe I'll go a little bit deeper. Breathing, bringing out that torso, generating that movement from your thoracic spine all the way around. Breathe and hold. Go ahead and walk those hands back over to that right side. Nice and slow this time, trying to go even further. You can tell I feel so much more comfortable on my right side, and I can really twist and feel pretty comfortable still. I'm not trying to round my back. I'm still trying to keep my torso, my chest upright, and really, again, generating that twist from my thoracic spine. Your mid-back. Breathe. You can even further the twist, look over that right shoulder. Make that twist and that stretch go into your neck and your trap. Breathe, hold. Walking it back over to the left side, and let's see how my left side feels now, because maybe it won't feel quite as tight. Again, generating that movement, that torque rotation from my torso. Spinning around, it still feels a little bit tight, but I can go a little bit further back. I am going to look over that left shoulder and breathe. Good, and coming forward now. So we're going to come up all the way. We're going to go ahead and put our hands behind our head, interlocking those fingertips, and I want you to inhale, pull those shoulder blades back towards the wall behind you, so you're pulling and opening up that chest. Feel free to change your seated position. If your legs are crossed, you might want to just change which one is crossed on top and bottom. Pushing away, opening up that chest, deep. Inhale. Exhale, come forward. Let those elbows drop forward towards the ground. Up and open. Pulling, pushing away. Those elbows are magnetized towards that wall behind you. Squeezing your shoulder blades. Big exhale, let them fall forward. Breathe, go ahead and come up. You're gonna rotate onto all fours now, so go ahead and rotate however you feel comfortable. You're gonna get onto all fours, and we're gonna do some hip rotations into some cat-cow. So, on all fours, everything is underneath everything else. So knees underneath hips, hands underneath shoulders, all right? So as we hold this, let's just do some standard old cat-cow. When you do this cat-cow, I really want you to generate the motion from your tailbone. That's gonna be what starts and stops all of the motion. So you're gonna start by curling your tailbone under, and then you're gonna let that movement travel up your spine and going into your upper back. Push the ground away, really rounding the back right now, really tucking that tailbone under. You're breathing here, still pushing the ground away. Go ahead and start untucking that tailbone. and then letting that movement travel up your spine. Your chest will drop through your shoulders. Head will look up towards the ceiling. Okay, again here, generating that movement from the tailbone as you're looking up towards the ceiling. Tuck your tailbone under, moving with your spine up your back, all the way into the upper back, pushing the ground away once again. Breathe. This is more like a segmented cat-cow. So instead of just doing the entire motion, we're going slowly vertebrae by vertebrae. Go ahead and untuck that tailbone, pushing your hips out, letting that spine drop down, looking up and towards the ceiling. Breathing. Really squeeze those shoulder blades together. One more time, tucking that tailbone under, pushing the ground away. Inhale. Exhale, last time, dropping our chest and looking up. Breathe. And coming back to neutral. From here, we're going to push into a down dog, and we're going to just shift back and forth from down dog to plank. This is something I like to do in almost every single one of my classes at some point or the other, whether it's gentle or athletic. I don't always do it in gentle, but it is a good one to do. It just kind of gets the whole body blood flowing. So you're going to push up onto your toes. If you don't feel comfortable in down dog, you can always hold a child's pose or puppy pose. Puppy pose is just like child's pose. It's just your legs stay at 90 degrees and your arms, when you come down, your forehead come down. It's a little bit more of a gentle version of down dog without stretching your hamstrings. So go ahead and push up into your toes, pushing back. Feel free to bend your knees as much as you need to until you feel comfortable. You're pushing the ground away, keeping your tailbone untucked. So if you think of that cat-cow we just did, we don't want a rounded tailbone, we want an untucked tailbone. Trying to draw those heels towards the ground, push the ground away. Ears are between your shoulder blades, and you're lengthening and elongating. Breathe and hold. Letting the weight on your neck, let your head just dangle down. You're not trying to hold your head up at all, it's just relaxing. On this inhale, roll forward into a plank. Keep your tailbone tucked. Hold it here. Breathe, push back into down dog. Deep inhales. Elongating that spine, but letting our head just hang and relax. Rolling forward into that plank, keep that tailbone tucked. Breathing, pushing back. Constantly aware of what your hips are doing. Always knowing if they're open, if your tailbone's tucked or untucked. Breathe, let's do one more forward. Tailbone tucked. Breathe. Last down dog. Elongate that spine, lengthen. Breathe, and coming forward, go ahead and drop your knees down onto the ground. Now, right into it, we're going to just done a couple of twists for our thoracic spine or that mid-back, and we're going to just go right into it straight away. So from here, you're going to have your hand on the ground, your left hand, we're going to take our right hand, and we're going to open it up away from our body. Look up towards that hand. Breathe. You want to take it a little further. You could turn your hand out, palm facing out, and put it on your low back and twist and open up that shoulder even more. Otherwise, keep your hands straight up and look right at it. Rounding forward, switch to the other side. Left hand coming right up, looking up towards that hand. Again, turning the palm out, putting it on that low back, opening up that shoulder just a little bit more. Breathe. rotate forward again. This time we're going to do a full thread the needle into a thoracic twist. So we're going to thread that needle all the way through, resting on that shoulder just a little bit, and then we're going to rotate and open up to the side. Breathe from here, holding it through, opening, rotating. I'm going to go ahead and add in that extra little bit of a twist, looking up towards that ceiling, breathing nice and steady. And back down. We're going to do the other side. Thread the needle, left side goes through all the way onto that shoulder. Breathe. Let's open it up. Rotating towards that ceiling, opening up that hand and bringing it back behind my back. Breathing, breathing. Good, let's come forward. Again, one more. Thread the needle through, holding here. This time I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to extend it out in front of me. So I'm also going to let my hips drop back and I'm going to pull these fingertips away. I have my step in the way, but I'm going to just grab onto my step instead. Otherwise, you just keep walking those fingertips forward on the floor until you get a good stretch in this top arm. You're holding here, breathing nice and steady. Today feels extra gentle in this class. We're gonna move extra slow and linger a little bit in the poses just because they're feeling nice. Something about today is just telling me to go a little bit slower. Bring this hand forward. Let's go ahead and rotate a last time, opening up, opening my palm up, adding to that stretch just a little bit. Breathe. Rotating forward. Let's get onto the other side. Remember, we're going to do that reach with our arm that is not stretching. So we're going to take our right hand now and just reach it, pulling away from the body, dropping your hips back if you can. Breathe. Let's bring that hand up. Opening up, rotating for the last time, opening up towards the ceiling. Breathe, and of course adding in that extra twist. Breathe, breathe. Good, and rotating forward. Now we're going to go into a little bit of an active child's pose. I want you to have a little bit wider stance with your knees. So go ahead and put your knees on either side of your mat, and you're going to come in and out of child's pose. And then we're going to do a little bit more of a hip opener. So from here, you're going to come down, sink back into it, pulling our back away. And then on your forearms, you're just going to come forward and then back. Forward and back. And my forearms are about shoulder width apart. Back and forth. Breathing nice and steady. Good. Hold it at the stretch, so hold it here. Put your hand on the ground, forehead or chin on the ground, whatever feels more comfortable. Breathe. Go ahead and come up onto your hands. You can bring your knees in a little bit closer, a little bit more like hip width apart. You're going to go ahead and take your left leg, rotate it over to your left hand, and you're gonna sink back and forward. Back and forward, kind of same thing we were just doing, but this time the leg is up in front. Sinking back and forward. Breathing. Nice and easy. Good. Hold it here at the top of the motion with your leg bent, open up towards that leg, and then you're gonna kind of push your hips back and go forward again as you stay twisted open. So now we're back and we're forth. Back and forth. Breathe. If your hamstrings are not feeling it, if they're a little bit tight, you can only go a little ways back. That is totally fine. You don't have to straighten out that leg completely. Breathe. Keeping that nice twist. We've done a lot of twists already. Just adding to that list of twists. Breathe. One more. Rotate down. Let's swivel that hip back. Let's take our right leg now. Right leg to the right hand. Back and forth. Back and forth. Breathe. Good. For some reason this side feels a lot more comfortable with it. We'll see when I twist. Back and forth, nice and easy. Nice even breathing as you do this. Let's go ahead and stop here at the front, opening and twisting, adding in that same movement. Breathe. Let's do 2 more. Good. Bringing your hand down. Let's rotate that hip back. Now we're going to go into a little bit more of an intense hip movement now. So you're going to do it. I'm actually going to do it wide, and I'm going to do it towards you all so you can see it. If you have like a hardwood floor, or if you don't have a very thick mat, you might want to roll it up a little bit because your knees are going to be on your knees for a while. This is called frog pose. And it's going to look funny, but it's okay. You're going to come out really wide with your knees like you're doing a really wide child's pose. Your ankle is in line to the best of your ability with your knee, but it's okay if your ankle comes tucked in towards your tailbone. That's okay too. You're going to come down onto your forearms, again, going as wide as you can with your legs, and you're going to do that same active pose that we did earlier. So you're going to come forward and back, but we're just doing it a lot wider at this point. Forward and back. Just so you can see it from the side. Forward and back, but clearly a whole lot wider. Breathe. In and out. If you can, hold it at the bottom position here. If that feels like it's a little bit too intense or if it's a little bit too uncomfortable, then go ahead and keep shifting back and forth. But if you can hold it here, hold it for about 5 deep breaths. That's 2 seconds in, 4 seconds out. Breathing nice and slow and steady. Intense, gentle today. All right, last breath. This time, as you come forward, we're going to start with our left leg. You're going to rotate this left leg up towards you, which is like, what? You're going to watch me as I do it, so it doesn't sound so confusing. As you come forward, this left leg, so notice my hip is dipping down, and my left foot is coming up. My right foot is still on the ground, and then you're going to come back and do the same thing on the other leg. Back and forth. really rotating. These are called Frogger rotations, or at least that's what I'm going to call them. I have to come onto the mat. My knee can only handle the hardwood for so long. All right, so I'm rotating out and open, then coming back. Open, nice rotation, and back. Rotate, and back. Breathe with it, in and out of the movement. My hip flexors feel super tired right now, so every time I do this, I'm actually getting a good stretch of my hip flexors, which normally when I do these, I don't feel my hip flexors too much. All right, let's do one more on each side, and I promise you we are not doing more than one round of these. We are only doing this round because they are kind of intense. Go ahead and come back. Bring your knees together. Breathe for a second. You can go into child's pose if you would like, but for me, because my hip flexors are feeling tight, if I go into child's pose, it's actually not going to be super relaxing. So I am going to stay seated up, taking just a second, doing a couple of inhales and exhales. We're going to go right into a hip flexor stretch right after this, and a quad stretch, because that targeted that area a little bit. So we're going to do opposite motion. So take one more deep breath in, 2 seconds in. Exhale out. Go ahead and come up onto your knees. You're going to take your left leg, bring it out in front. Knee is stacked underneath your hip. My favorite quad stretch. We're going to actually be stretching our right leg first. If you have a ball nearby, it's handy to have it, or a chair. So if you don't, you might want to go near something that has something you can hold on to, because it does kind of help. You're going to take your right foot and you're going to bring it up and try to grab it if you can, if it feels comfortable enough for you to do that. And then you're going to tuck your tailbone under. So that's the most important part. If you're feeling way too tight in your quads to even do that, then just hold a neutral pose, tuck your tailbone under. That's the most important part. And then you can kind of roll up onto your toes, and that's going to make this stretch even more intense than being flat on your foot. So you can do it at levels, or you could even put pillows underneath your foot to slightly raise it. But here right now, when I grabbed my foot, my hamstring started to cramp up, so that's my body saying, not yet. So for me, I'm going to just stay rolled on my toes. If you want to take it up a notch, keeping that tailbone nice and tucked, bring up that leg and hold it up there, and that'll really stretch out your quad. Otherwise, you can be like me and have a hamstring that wants to cramp and just hold it like this. Breathing and relax. Now, this time, go ahead, obviously drop your foot. If you're holding it, you're going to re-engage that tailbone, tucking that tailbone under, and then we're going to reach with our hands up. So tucking that tailbone under, squeezing those glutes, take your right hand, stretch it right up towards the ceiling, and arch away. So what that would look like: forward, tailbone tucked, arching away. Probably one of my favorite moves. I do this one so often. Really feeling that hip flexor stretch right along here, and your quad should be feeling a stretch as well. Breathe. Nice and steady, keeping your hand nice and lifted and lengthened. Go ahead and put that right hand on the ground. Obviously your tailbone is no longer tucked. You're going to take this hand and reach over to the side. Breathe. If you want a little bit more of a stretch, open up away. So shoulders go opposite way. You open up towards the ceiling, or keep it straight. It's up to you. Breathe. Come up from those obliques, nice and slow. Switch sides. Let's see if my hamstring will cramp on this side. Otherwise, maybe I'll do the full stretch. All right, tucking that tailbone under. Again, just rolling up onto those toes if your quad is super tight. Let's see what my hamstring will do. It's really important, though, that you don't let your booty come out like that. You need to keep it tucked in and driving forward. This hamstring is a-okay with the stretch, so I'm going to go ahead and hold the full stretch right along with y'all. So tailbone stays tucked, whole time, that makes it like way worse, and worse by, I mean good, by worse. Makes the stretch really intense. So just make sure you keep that tailbone tucked. If you feel like you can't hold that tailbone tuck, then go ahead and drop that foot out. Breathing, keeping your chest upright. Holding onto that wall if you have it. This is a good one too, where you can actually back this foot up against the wall and do it so you don't have to reach back with your hand. Also something you could do. Breathe, go ahead and release that foot. Take a second, release the hip. Breathing. Tucking that tailbone once again, reaching straight up, lengthening that lat, stretching away from that side. Keeping the tailbone tucked, of course, the entire time. Sound like a broken record at this point. Just keeping the tailbone tucked. Breathe, breathe, breathe. For once, this side does not feel way worse than the other side, so that's a good sign. Breathe. Keep holding that tailbone tuck. Holding. Good, and release, bringing that hand down to the ground, lifting up with this hand, stretching over or opening up towards the ceiling. Either one is fine. Breathe. Holding there. Good, and lifting up. Let's use those obliques. We're going to come down all the way onto the ground. All the way onto our back. We're going to do kind of this, a little bit of abs. A little bit of abs and gentle yoga with a little bit of an added twist and stretch. So you're going to have your feet in cobbler's pose. So feet are touching together, knees are going to be open away from one another out to the sides of your body. Now you're going to crunch up and then twist to the side. You're going to come down, breathe, crunch all the way up, twist to the side. Come down, up, twist to the side. It's just like a sneaky way to get abs in there, right? It's a very personal trainer thing to do. Add it in, coming up. If it's too uncomfortable to do it with your feet like this, you can have your feet wider than hip width apart, and you can do it this way instead and see if that feels a little bit more comfortable. The cobbler pose way might not feel the most comfortable, so feel free to adjust it if you need to. Good news is, I'm only having y'all do one round of these. You aren't going to do more than that. Because this isn't athletic yoga, this is just gentle. Breathe, let's do one more twist on each side. Coming down, up, rotating, looking over that shoulder. Breathe. Go ahead, come all the way back down. We're going to bring our right leg, cross it over our knee, and we're going to go ahead and grab this leg that is not crossed over, grab behind that knee, and let your shoulder blades come onto the ground. Now you can let this back leg just kind of hang like so, or if you want a little bit more of a hamstring stretch, you can stretch it up straight towards you. It's just going to depend on how you're feeling. Since my hamstrings are a little bit off today, I'm going to go ahead and keep my leg bent, as I don't feel like having one cramp or strain it unnecessarily. So we're going to hold it here and breathe. You want both shoulder blades to be on the ground. Try to relax your body. Inhale that 2 seconds. Exhale for 4. Breathing. One more deep breath in. Exhale, go ahead and release. Put that foot on the ground, but keep this one bent. Gotta scoot over. We're gonna be doing a windshield wiper effect with our legs. So we're gonna let this one leg touch the ground here. We're gonna hold it. Breathe, take one nice deep breath in. You can see I'm pressing against my quad with this is my left hand to make the stretch a little bit deeper. You're more than welcome to do that, but it is not necessary. Just helps me to push this hip a little bit more. Rotate it up, and now we're gonna drop this knee towards the other side. So we're gonna hold it here. This one's a little bit more awkward or a little bit more uncomfortable. So that is normal if you're feeling it just kind of feels weird. That's normal. We're still trying to keep both shoulder blades on the ground to the best of your ability. Rotating forward again. Let that foot drop to the other side. If you're not pressing against this leg, of course your arms can be out straight from the side, or they can be like a cactus. It's really whatever feels comfortable. Breathe, let's rotate to the other side. I'm keeping my foot down of that leg. It's kind of like my leg that's on a hinge. It's hinging from side to side, so I am staying on my toes as I do this. Rotate back to the middle. Go ahead and release that one leg, switching to the other side, lifting up that leg. Again here, either bending that knee or keeping that hamstring straight and adding in a little bit more hamstring to it. Breathing. Again, goal is to keep shoulder blades on the ground. Of course, you can see my shoulders themselves are floating a little bit, but my shoulder blades are predominantly on the ground, and that is what we want. Breathing, trying to relax those muscles. Good, one more breath. Drop that foot. And let this foot fall to the side. I'm going to take my right hand this time and press against that leg. Breathing still. Rotating back to the middle and going to the other side. Again, both shoulder blades should be on the ground. Breathing. Back to the middle. One more time, rotating to this side. Pressing against that leg if you choose. Bringing it back up, and last stretch, and we are all done. And rotate forward. Go ahead and put your hands on your stomach. I want you to take 5 deep breaths, and then you're all finished up. Close your eyes. Focus only on your breathing. 2 seconds in and 4 seconds out. As y'all finish up, I will go sign off. Thank y'all for joining tonight. There is a new guided meditation video on my YouTube. I literally released it right before I did this class. So if you want a little guided meditation, there's one on my IGTV, but there's also now one on my YouTube. There's also a video to help know what poses to do during guided meditation in case you're unsure of which ones are best. So that is all on my YouTube, which is linked in my bio. And thank y'all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful evening and hopefully you feel a little bit more relaxed now. All right, bye guys.